Hey everyone, I'm Tsunani. Welcome to my new video. It will be a cozy sketchbook session today, so grab your tea and relax. It's May and I'm on my own drawing challenge right now, 2 prompts a week. I made this challenge for us on Patreon. If you are curious, check out my Patreon. I'm posting random artsy content there, sometimes videos, and right now there is this spring flush challenge, which brings a lot of fun. Today I will paint a few robins, which I already sketched here in my sketchbook, the European robin and the American robin as well. And I will also paint a few lilies of the valley. I rarely paint birds and animals. In general, perhaps except for insects, I love to draw insects. And I want to paint animals more often, especially birdies. I love them so much. I sketched with a Col Erase Pencil from Prismacolor, by the way. And I used my Rosa Gallery paints for this spread in my Etchr sketchbook. It has 100% cotton paper and it's hot pressed paper, which I really love. I'm always starting with a wash of paint. I like to build up my painting in multiple layers. In this case, I think I painted 2 layers of watercolor. Sometimes I'm doing more. This depends on my mood and my patience on this time. And here I'm working in my sketchbook and I just want to practice a bit painting birds and have fun with my prompts. I thought it's interesting that there are different birds called robin on the other side of the world. Both have red bellies or breasts, but they look very different. The American robin looks more like an European blackbird from the whole body shape, and things like that. But our blackbird is just black. I love to dive in the wildlife, animals and plants which are living and growing all over the world, which unique creatures and plants you can find, and the stories they tell about them, the myths which have their roots in different countries. It's always very interesting, and there are also a few myths about robins. Let's look at the European robin. They say the robin is more than just a winter songbird. It's a messenger fluttering between this world and whatever lies just beyond. In old stories, robins would appear in quiet moments after loss, perching near windows or garden walls, as if carrying a fragment of someone we miss. Their bold little song in the coldest months made people believe they were keepers of some ancient warmth, a flame that refused to go out. The red on their breast, a mark of that fire, not from battle or sorrow, but from carrying something alive through the silence of winter. In Celtic traditions, to harm a robin was to invite misfortune, because they were thought to walk with the souls of the departed. A fleeting shadow in the hedge, a flicker of red in the snow, a reminder that something is always watching gently. I also found a few myths about the American robin, which are very beautiful. In North American lore, the robin is the first note of spring. Not just a bird, but a kind of signal, a herald. In the stories of many indigenous people, it is said that the robin watches the turning of the earth and sings to wake it up. The robin's return is a quiet ceremony. The thawing of roots, the soft rise of morning light, and that familiar call, clear as flint and soft as rain. Some legends tell of robins as shapeshifters, beings who once were human, transformed to carry messages between the sky and the soil. Their red breast is the ember of something older, not fire, not blood, but memory. The robin doesn't just return each year, it reminds us that we return too, that everything we thought was lost in winter is only waiting for the right song to rise again. It's so wonderful what is said about the robins. And yeah, they always makes me happy when I see them in winter and then they sing their spring song again. Love them a lot. In May, here where I live, grow a lot of lily of the valleys. In the last years they came a little bit earlier, but you can still find them right now. In German, they are called Maiglöckchen, directly translated May bells, because they grow in May and look like white little bells. And I also found a few old stories and myths about Maiglöckchen. They bloom quietly, low in the ground, in places where the light filters gently through. Lily of the Valley, a name that sounds like a story in itself. In old European folklore, it was said that these flowers sprang from the larvae of woodland spirits, or the footprints of fairies as they passed unseen through shaded glades. In Slavic tales, they were tears turned to bloom from a maiden who wept for a lost love, or from the forest itself, mourning the end of spring. The bells, so small and white, were thought to ring in a voice too soft for humans to hear, but the animals listened. In parts of North America, Lily of the Valley carries its own quiet power. Though not native, its appearance in shaded gardens came to symbolize a kind of memory, something planted generations ago, still returning every spring. Some Appalachian legends say the plant is watched over, that where it grows wild, the forest remembers you. Despite its delicate look, the plant is steeped in contradiction, beautiful, fragrant, yet entirely poisonous. In this way, it becomes a symbol of hidden strength, of sweetness with teeth, of something lovely that asks to be respected, not plucked. And maybe that's why it appears in so many stories, not just a flower, but as a signal, a whisper that something old is waking just beneath the moss and soil. I also found this little story which I want to read to you about the lily of the valley. The bells of the forest. Once long ago, the forest had no flowers, only leaves, moss and shadow. It was green and old and very quiet. One spring the wind passed through and whispered, "The forest is too silent, let it sing." But trees are too slow to change, so the wind called upon a small spirit, one who lived beneath the roots and slept inside the stones. She had no name, but she loved the light that fell like lace through the branches. The wind asked her to give the forest a song, so she climbed into the world and wandered until her feet were sore. Where she rested, she pressed her fingers into the damp earth, and from the touch, the first lily of the valley bloomed, white and small, shaped like tiny bells. They did not ring aloud. Instead, they rang inward, in dreams, in birdsong, in the hearts of those who walked softly. Since that day, every spring they return. They do not shout, but if you are still and kind and listening, you might just hear the forest being to sing. After I finished my watercolor layers, I grabbed a few different colored pencils to render my lovely birds and the flowers. Later, I will also use a white paint marker for the eyes of my spirit friends, which also can't be missed on a spread like this. Now, when I'm watching this again for my voiceover, I think the spread is filled up a bit too much. But I don't know, somehow it fits all together and I like the vibe of the spread. If you are still here and watching this video, you could comment a bird emoji if you like, so I know. I will make a poll when this video comes out in my community section here on YouTube, what content you would like to watch in the future in the next weeks. I will suggest a few of my ideas and then you can click on your favorite one, or you can also write your wishes and suggestions also here in the comments. I will read them all and then I can think about what would make us all happy in the next weeks. For example, I thought about painting more mushrooms and foresty stuff, cozy sketchbook sessions like this one, or perhaps you have questions to special techniques or medias, which I can explain to you in tutorials. Because you like the step-by-step tutorial for painting depth with watercolors a lot, so perhaps something similar to this one. Or portraits, I love drawing portraits. Also nature sketching is something I love to do right now. Perhaps you want to know more about this topic. There will also come another video about my personal favorites watercolor palette, but you didn't love the last one so much. I try to make it a bit more compact and less long then. Then I have all these swatches in my window for more than half a year now. We can have a look how light fast the Kuretake paints are, for example, or the Paul Rubens watercolors, or the Artchr acrylic markers or watercolor pencils. Oh, and the Turner acrylic gouache and that Mijello Mission Titanium white glass gouache as well. Yeah, a lot of swatches in my window. Okay, then this spread seems to be almost finished. I like how it looks. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and click on the little bell if you like. This is a great support. Thank you so much. Also a big thank you to my wonderful patrons. You are amazing. Then have an awesome week, my friends. See you next time. Yours, Xonani.